Hey you guys, and welcome back to Man with Melissa, and it's your girl, Melissa. So we are in the month of February, and this is a month where relationships are really highlighted, primarily romantic relationships. And I've never in the past been one to harp on, or because it's February, other when you were younger and you're mad that, you maybe didn't get the Valentine's Day card or something like that. But I never been one as I got older to really harp on the month of February, and to really focus in on relationships in that way. But this month, the Lord has just really been highlighting relationships, and not just romantic, but just in general, all types of relationships. And primarily, he's been talking about relationship with him, and that's what we're going to be going into. And we're going to be talking about setting the mood with Jesus, that is, right? And so if you guys are interested, I'm going to be giving you guys some practical tips on just how to set the mood, how to be intimate. I know sometimes you guys may even begin to cringe on that thought, but intimate with the Lord. And so if you're interested in this and what that means, stay tuned. So as I mentioned, the Lord has really been highlighting relationships this month. And one relationship, the ultimate relationship that we need to constantly cultivate and pour into is our relationship with God. And I think sometimes we think it's as simple as just, when we're praying and different things like that. But there's other ways that we can develop an intimacy and a closeness with God. Now, I know many of you, when you're thinking of intimacy, you think of sex. You may think of physical touch and, looking in an alluring way, right, with a mate. But there is a different type of intimacy that comes with God, and nothing quite compares to it. I remember being in my a little previous years, I remember the Lord sharing that with me, that because there's nothing wrong with wanting someone to be close to you, or, to be close with someone. But the Lord was kind of downloading to me that nothing on earth, nothing compares to the closeness that comes with God. So even when, whether you have your husband, or when you get your husband or a mate, yes, there's going to be a depth of closeness and intimacy that comes with that. And that is wonderful. And it's actually a mirror image. It's a image of the love of God that he has for his bride, who was us. But it does not compare. It does not fill the void that comes with spending quality, intimate time with God. And so I want us to begin to practice things on a usual that develops that intimacy, that sets that mood, that sets the tone for being close, that sets the tone from welcoming in the lover of our soul into our hearts. I did a recent post where it talked about, God not being insecure, and just how we spend time with the Lord. And from that, it's where we develop this, where a lot of our worshiping and our deeds and our singing and our conversations flow from that place of just setting the tone, setting a atmosphere where you feel vulnerable, where the Lord is vulnerable with you, where you're sharing intimate thoughts and laughing and quiet moments in an intimate space with the Lord. So many times in our journey, in different seasons, and especially right now with the pandemic going on, it's so easy to feel this deep loneliness. But in prior seasons, also, like if you've ever had just lonely times, many times it's your spirit longing for intimacy with God. That's what we were born to do. We were born to be and dwell with the Lord. But we many times will substitute that intimacy with our fleshly desires. So we'll fill it up with over spending time with friends. And again, it's nothing wrong with spending time, but just to fill those voids, we'll fill it with different relationships, situationships, and all these other things, right? Just to fill that space. But what you're really longing for, what your spirit is really crying out for, is being close with God, spending intimate time with God. If you are new to the journey, or maybe it's very unfamiliar for you to that word, or just talking about being in a relationship or being intimate with God, you may find when you're starting out, coming before him and just speaking to him, it kind of will feel awkward. It may feel like, okay, who am I talking to? Is he hearing me? You may find yourself getting distracted or getting bored. But what needs to be done is you actually setting the atmosphere and welcoming him, readying yourself to be intimate with God, and then also welcoming his spirit in, so that he's actually, you feel him dwelling among you. So in the Bible, the book, the Song of Solomon, is a very intimate book. It's a book that I noticed that many people, whether in study or sermons, you don't hear people talk about it much, because it's like, it almost feels like it doesn't belong in the Bible, because it feels like it's a racy book about relationships and being intimate, and I almost feel like, again, it feels like it doesn't fit in there. But I believe that book is there to highlight how the Lord praises and he celebrates intimacy in the realm of two lovers, again, ordained by God and in marriage. But he celebrates that passion, that longing, that search. And in the Song of Solomon, there's the beloved, which is the woman, and there's the lover that's, she talks about him, she's waiting for him. So when in the first book of, when the book first opens up, she's waiting for him in her marriage, in the marriage bed, and she's longing for him to come, and eventually he comes, and they dwell among each other, and they're ravished in each other's presence with him giving her praise about what she looks like, and her being amazed at who he is and his grandeur. And then as time goes on, the lover, the man, leaves the presence of the beloved. And, now there's this deeper longing that goes deeper than just he pursued her, right? He wooed her. He spoke things to her. But then there's this longing that now he's gone. Now she doesn't feel his presence around. And so now there's the pursuit in her, right? And so now she's going all out to the land and asking people, where's my lover? Where is he? I need to find him. She's skipping over hills and mountains to get close to him. And that's kind of that's what that pursuit is when we're setting the mood with the Lord. In the beginning of our walk with God, the Lord is pursuing us, and he's wooing us with his words. He's reminding us of what his word says, and what he thinks about us, and how we're fearfully and wonderfully made, and how we're women and men of God, made in his image. All these beautiful things when we first come to God, the butterflies, we just want to constantly be in his presence. As you continue to pursue God, you have to maintain that relationship. And with any relationship that needs to be maintained, you gotta make time for intimate time. And that's not just in romance. Sometimes just even with friends, intimate time is spending quality time. It's the laughs. It's the sometimes serious moments. Because even in intimacy, sometimes it is, where it's just worship and it's wonderful and it's glorious, but sometimes it's ugly moments too, where a lot of revelation is happening in a conversation. It's all still love, right? It's all still passion and love that's there, but sometimes conversations that come up as you're pouring out your heart, or the other person is pouring out their heart, it's a new level of intimacy. It's new unfoldings of yourself, right? There's a nakedness in marriage, right? That comes where you're naked before a person, right? You're showing your full self to them. But that vulnerability when it comes to God is you pulling off layers of yourself. You're letting him into not just the Father, I worship you, Father, I thank you, Father, you're awesome, but you're letting him into the ugly parts, right? Maybe the scars that you've had from the battles of your life and other broken relationships, or just feeling maybe insecure about yourself, and in that time he's just loving on you. And so that's what, if you read the Song of Solomon, that's what that's speaking of. It's not just two lovers. That is God, it's a reflection of God's pursuit for his bride. The way in that book, how every single detail is just talking about, just very intimate details of the body, but it's not about that. It's about the Lord just being so and ravished by who we are. It's a deeper level of intimacy that goes beyond what a physical person can give us, because he sees us in such a deeper level. Another place in the word where there is intimacy between God and his creation is in the Garden of Eden. And I feel like we're always trying to just get back to that place, where it talks about that God walked with Adam and Eve in the cool of the day. They literally saw him face to face. in the garden, they were able to see him face to face. They would see him. They would know, where he was going, where he was coming. And the same thing for Adam and Eve. He would be looking. He didn't have to search for them. He just knew that where they were. There was just this constant intimacy of conversation, of openness, of just being around one another. So when you think of that, think of it's more than levels of just again, intimacy in a physical sense. It's a closeness. It's a closeness that the Lord is desiring. And as I'm gonna give you the practical tips, but it comes from spending quality time with God, not just quick devotions, not a quick cover me, God, so as I go into this day or praying over food, but it's making and setting aside quality time just for him, because there's just a spot in your life made just for the Lord. So let's get into it. One way to set the mood to experience closeness with the Lord is through music. Okay? It's through music. The Lord loves it. He loves, though we know worship is not just music, we worship God with our lives. But one way of bringing a closeness and bringing you close to God and kind of reminding you of love and being close is music. And so, setting certain moods, there are times for me where I want to be in such a just quietness and stillness before God. So I choose songs that have to do with that remind me of who God is, remind me of things I may have forgotten, reminding me of how he sees me. So I choose those songs to just play around the house. Maybe even as I'm just doing certain things, I set the mood in that way. There are times where the mood isn't so more somber and like reflective. Sometimes it's like a celebration and I'm happy and I'm excited and I'm dancing, right? And so there are songs that I will go for that, where there's, I'm up in my place. I'm literally jumping around the house. I'm getting it, but I'm getting it with the Lord and just like celebration of like who he is. I'm kind of pointing to the sky like, God, it's setting that mood. Now it all depends. Like, go with what you feel. If you feel sometimes where, you're just thankful and you're really excited, then set the mood for that. Play some songs that are going to get you in that reminding of just being so just on fire and just, you want to just jump and you just want to dance. And then when you just feel like there's just closeness and you just want to be intimate and pour out your heart to God, or you just want to be still, choose those songs that bring you into the reminder of those things, right? Because now for me, I know there are songs that tell stories and they tell stories of what we've been through, and praise God for that. But many of the songs that I go for when I just need to get into his presence are those types of songs that remind me of who he is, of his likeness, of what he says to me. And I'll focus on that. The same thing when I want to celebrate and dance and be excited and celebrate who the Lord is and what he's been doing in my life. Now, another thing is that, like with any relationship, you may not always be in the mood, but it's something. What has to be practiced is you pushing yourself to set that mood. So your heart, it's like your spirit is gonna constantly be reminded of that place. So in the morning, it's very easy to scroll, to get into something. To go on to something that kind of takes you away from setting the tone with the Lord. For me, when I get up right before work, or if I don't have work, I play music while I'm getting in the shower, getting prepped. Particularly when I'm in the shower, that's a place where I really have really intimate time with the Lord in my worship. May start as a conversation. I'm praying, but the song, again, I set the tone with the song that I sing, and praise begins on that part, and he starts revealing certain things, and I'm just talking to him. Sometimes it's a crying session, sometimes it is sometimes it's just a regular worship moment, but I set it at the beginning of the day. I said it when I get up, whether I feel like it or not, right? I feel like just with certain, I'm not married, but you see certain movies where sometimes you feel like the person, sometimes you don't. And sometimes, because our flesh is in the place, sometimes we feel like God and sometimes we don't, because our flesh it tends to act up, right? When we're feeling away. But when you push yourself to constantly practice going before God in the beginning of your day, a praise just starts to, once you start practicing and you get used to it, a praise just starts to develop on your heart. Another way to be intimate with God is just taking him out throughout the day. When you're in a relationship with someone, you're not just, it's not just reserved for the beginning of the day, the end of the day. You're kind of talking with them all throughout the day. And that's the same thing with God. We have jobs, we have, relationship with family and stuff like that, or business that we're handling. And the intimacy and setting the mood is just always talking to him about everything. When something makes you laugh, when you're being silly, when, you're feeling a way about a thing, when you just need to focus on certain, it's not always in such a position where you're literally on your, bended down on your knees and you're putting your hands like this. It's not that. I don't even do that, but it's where you're constantly talking to him on your breaks, I know for me, many of my talks with the Lord, aside from the shower and the bathroom, is when I'm doing dishes. I'll be cleaning, I'll be doing dishes, and it's very easy, yes, to just play to watch TV. I will play soaking music. I will play some soaking music, and go ahead and look it up on YouTube. But soaking music it's most of the time it's instrumental. And it kind of just quiets and stills you to really quiet. First off, in that time you're quieting your soul, meaning you're making an intentional purpose of, okay, everything else that is outside of God or whatever's been happening, I'm laying that all aside just so I can hear from him. And you'll be surprised as you're still with him, and even in the busyness of the things that you just got to get done, he'll whisper certain things to you about something to assure you, something that may be in correction. And I've had conversations back and forth where I'm like, I remember him telling me like, Melissa, I love you. And it's something as simple, but the revelation of you and hearing that, what it does to your spirit, and then you say it back to him. And then there's sometimes where there's just quiet moments. You're just quiet and you're just still out of reverence for God. And so it changes, right? And because, yes, I play soaking music when I'm busy doing stuff, but there's sometimes where he just wants me to be still before him. So I may be on this floor in my living room or be in my bed where I just play the music and I let it take me to sleep. Or I may let it take me to sleep, or while I'm on my bed, I take one verse that I feel like the Lord is really trying to minister to me, and I meditate on that to even help me go to sleep. Or times where I cried myself to sleep, about certain things, and it's very easy to just go to bed with a broken heart or go to bed about, with that matter on your head. But I've been intentional about playing that music and also reminding myself of his word. I've had times where I felt his presence in a way, just by being intimate, just talking, just letting out my heart, literally just having a conversation like I would have another person. And I would feel myself like the Lord would kind of like lead me to like hold or just caress. And I know that's him holding me. I know that's him. Even sometimes when I would lay my head on the bed, and it's as if I'm just laying my head on my Father. So intimacy is not always something that's you setting aside a time. Sometimes it happens sporadically. It's just you being mindful just to communicate and be close. Closeness just comes by you bringing that thing to your attention, talking with him. The more and more you spend time, the more and more you're getting closer and intimate with that person, with the Lord. So I'm single, and I think in my singlehood, I've so enjoyed just the way the Lord just is in the day. Something as much as like he'll, like I talked to him about, what I want to make for dinner, and again, I'm not saying you got to ask him everything, but, well, you should definitely ask him about everything. But as you invite him into, Lord, I want to make something new. I want to try something new. He's as fun as inspiring you for a certain dish or something new to try, or he's as detailed in your life as, as women. Many times the Lord encourages us even to what to wear. Times like this in the pandemic, it's very easy to just constantly be in your loungewear. You don't want to be presentable for nobody. Most of the time on Zoom, you're, got your camera on, so you're not even dressing yourself. But setting the mood is sometimes dressing up for yourself and dressing up for him, making yourself. what makes God happy is you being in your best, you being your best self. And that's not saying you got to dress up and be in your church clothes all the time, but sometimes just dressing up and looking at yourself in the mirror and reminding him reminding you of who you are, or that's the way that he sees you. I remember even the Lord laying on someone's heart to get me a wig. And I thought, I'm like, okay, maybe that's the Lord prepping, because somebody's coming around the corner. But it was something that it was a desire on my heart. The Lord knew, like, I also needed. I'm like, because I will recycle my hair like that. But just him being intentional about, how I look. And that's setting the mood and welcome him in, because I even welcome him into those conversations, I remember having the conversation like, Lord, what do you want me to wear? Like, what do you desire that I wear? Because before my actual husband comes, he's my king. He is who I'm setting myself before. And so at one point in time, I just felt led to buy all these dresses, like just buy these dresses. And it wasn't like during that time, church wasn't open, but it was something that wasn't for, because a mate is, because that's why we always feel like we got to get dressed for, because a mate is coming around the corner. It was to just present myself before the King of Kings first. And as I dressed myself, it was like I was dressing myself in a way that was, you're walking into this new place, of just loving on you as you love on God and as he loves on you. So there's like this constant reciprocity of love going on. And again, I just did a recent post where I talked about when you're loved well, you reflect a different type of confidence, even just outside of when you spend that time with that person. And again, with this, I'm talking, I believe that's in the physical too, but also moreover, I believe that's with God, that when I've spent that time with him and he's encouraged me to do certain things, or again, pushing me down to meals to make, or, what time to wake up, or do this for yourself, treat yourself with this, do this. It reflects outwardly in just what you even look like to the world. That intimacy reflects on how people see you. And moreover, because it's like, how people talk about, you just have a glow about you. Like, are you dating somebody that got a glow about you? And I feel like when we come out of God's presence, we've set the mood where we've allowed him into every part of our day, we glow different. We're shining from this inside, and it's the ugly parts, right? It's because we, in our time and our setting mood with time with the Lord, we've let all that out. We are allowing him into layers and layers of our hearts. The funny parts, the quirky parts, the parts we don't like about ourselves, the things that we try to hide from the world. It's constantly being brought up before him, but it came and it started, and it's going to start for others who it hasn't begun. It's going to start by you setting aside a time and setting the mood to welcome him into that space. For my women, it may be, usually that's the thought. For women, it may the thought about intimacy and being close to God in that way may come a little familiar to you, maybe, right? Because everyone's background is different. But for my men, if you're out there and you're watching this, I don't want you to cringe at this kind of opera. Maybe you just didn't grow up in general being intimate or openly emotional with people around you, with other men, with even women, even with women also. And so I want to encourage you that this isn't that, don't compare that love, or even if you feel like that's not a part of you, it is a part of you. If you feel like you're not an emotional person, you're not ones that express with your mouth, that's in you. It goes way past your personality. It just like it opens up this box that you'll be wondering why you're crying. You'll be wondering why you're laughing at random moments, because you're smiling about something that the Lord may have said to you or reminded you of. You may find yourself just, man, I want to tell him about everything. I want to just speak to him about, I will get out of work sometimes, and soon as the day is over, this is when we were in a physical space, I would get out and I would just, on my way on the bus, I would talk to the Lord. On my way walking, because I'm about to go get a quick meal because I'm hungry. After work, I would talk to him. But I set that mood by just welcoming him in. So what this video is basically saying is that you can invite him into every part, but you got to make a practice out of it. You can't just think you're gonna always feel like doing it. The way that this comes so comfortable to me now is because I made a habit of it over time. Again, like every relationship, it has to be something that is deliberately practiced, deliberately maintained, and setting aside deliberate time for that. So with the Lord, I would encourage you from your mornings, set that time with music, with speaking about, Lord, about your schedule. And Lord, I want you to invade every part of the day. I want you there. I want you in my conversations. I want you, when I got to make a big decision. I want you when it was in a song with Anita Wilson, but when I hear bad news, show me that, you're still there with me, right? So that setting the mood is just inviting God into every day. The ups, the downs, the laughs, the smiles, the cries, and moreover, setting aside deliberate time in your schedule for him. Everyone's different. Say if the mornings do not work for you based on your schedule, maybe you set that time in the night. Maybe it's right in the middle of the day, in your lunch break, because that's really all the time that you have. And as you develop, it may change. He may desire, he may, if he hasn't already, wake you up 3-4 o'clock in the morning. You're wondering, you think you're just up to be up or you can't sleep. And that's him just wanting to spend some quality time with you. That's how it usually starts. So if you watch this video, you see things start to change. You start to see yourself waking up. Spend that time by just open up and start speaking to him about anything. You feel like, okay, what do you want to talk to me about? Talk to him about anything. He just wants to hear your voice or play some music. And that's how it'll begin for you. So again, this was a very practical video about just some things you can do in a everyday if you haven't even thought about doing that or being intimate with the Lord in that level. And honestly, if you're figuring out, okay, what exactly do I do? The relationships that you have that the Lord has placed in your life, right? Reflect on what you do in those things, right? And apply it to your relationship with the Lord. Laughs, giggles, sitting down when you're sitting down eating a meal. Sometimes invite him even into that. I've done that where I will literally at my dinner table clear a space, and I'm believing he's right there. That may seem weird to you guys, but it's real. If you believe that God is just as real as any person, you would invite him to dinner too. Okay. But again, it is that getting back to Eden. It's that getting back into walking with the Lord in the cool of the day. You're walking with him on your way to work, everything that you're doing. It's that Song of Solomon where it's the lover constantly admired and passionate with his fiery passion for his beloved, which is us. And again, every moment is going to be fiery passion. Sometimes really ugly and, very vulnerable, but it's all love and it's all setting the mood and welcoming him into the space of your heart. So that is the end of this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I hope that this opens up a deeper place in your heart for the Lord. And just invites him into every single space of your day. He just wants to invade all of that and have fun with you. God is so fun. He's so fun. I think he definitely has a sense of humor. He knows we like to laugh and just, that's the way he made us. And so I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and that you begin to set the mood and set the tone and welcoming in your love, the love of your soul, our Jesus Christ, our Savior. And I hope that you also share this comment. If you guys have any questions, you can always message me, and share, comment, and share with people that you know who you feel like they need to set the mood. They need to set the space of God in their life. All right, so that is all. I want you guys I will see you soon. I will see you in the next video. Thanks you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.